Hello and good morning. My name is John Barley and welcome for today's sales advice in Farming Simulator 19. Our today's topic are tractors again, and today tractors between 145 and 175 horsepower. In total there are 18 tractors available with these performance range. 18 of several brands with several models, but all in all of these 18 models are very close to each other. For example, we have 5 models with 145 horsepower, or we have 4 models with 175 horsepower. The price range of these is more or less very close to each other. There are 2 exceptions, which is the cheapest one and the most expensive one. These are kind of break out of the rule, but all others are basically in a range of between 100,000 and 130,000 euros, so very close, a very close range for all these tractors. Most of these are well, fully loaded, so you can have a front loader attacher, 3-point link, and PTO. Everything's in there, and yeah, that's the range of tractors and from Giant Software and the standard in-game one. If you would add the class DLC, for example, you would add 2 Arian 660 models to this list, so then in essence there are 20 tractors you can basically choose from. Yeah, and I would say, well, we get right into it, and we start with the most expensive one and the last of the bunch. This is a Fendt. This is a Fendt from the 700 Vario series, the 716 Vario. 164 horsepower, 180,000 to buy. So the, as mentioned before, the most expensive one. But I guess it's well, just like driving Mercedes-Benz. If you want the best brand, well, you have to pay for the best, and the best is mostly quite expensive, and yeah, you just need to be in the position to afford it. Otherwise, we have front loader attacher, 3-point link, PTO, everything in there, so fully loaded tractor. With this, the evaluation today will be sales price divided by performance in horsepower, and this one will end up at 1,079 euros per horsepower. Moving on, the first of 2 Valtras, the Valtra N134, 145 horsepower, 121,000 euros to buy. Also fully equipped, front loader attacher, 3-point link, PTO. So basically, from now on, I will just tell you which tractor does not have this setup, because as I mentioned before, many of the tractors basically have this setup in this category. So I will only mention these who do not supply this setup of front loader, 3-point link, and PTO. This is 121,000 euros to buy, 834 euros per horsepower. Here you would find a class Arian 660 with 145 PS and 120,000 euros to buy. Next up, one of 2 John Deeres from the 6M series, the 6145M, 153 horsepower, 125,000 euros to buy, 816 euros per horsepower. This one has the option of either having a front loader attacher, just like the one over here has, or you can have a front weight with up to 1,000 10 kilograms of weight. But you cannot have both at the same time. So that's why we will move on directly to the next of the John Deere, also of this 6M series, 6155. Slightly stronger tractor, 164 horsepower, 130,500 euros to buy, 795 euros per horsepower, here with the front loader attacher, but then not with the front weight. And they also do not have PTO or 3-point link in the front. Oh, at the front? At the front. Yes, these are the two John Deere models. Moving on to another Valtra. Also Valtra from the N series. This is the N145E. 165 horsepower, 131 euros to buy, 793 euros per horsepower. And one thing I would like to mention about the Valtras, we had already Valtras in our former evaluations, and I want to mention it, which I didn't mention before. I like the fact that you can basically choose any color you want for the Valtra. You can choose the rim color and the main cap color or body color, and you can choose from a very, very wide variety of colors. So for this one here, we have the, well, the girly model, if you would like to call it, in pink. Yeah, so this is a nice option Valtra gives you. The other brands basically have the standard color scheme of their company, and there's not much you can change about that. Yeah, this is the Valtra N154E. Next up, one of the first of a bunch of New Hollands. This is a New Holland T6 series. The T6 155 has 155 horsepower, is 122,000 euros to buy, so 787 euros per horsepower. Yes, another Blue Power series model, so the silver rims, the shinier metal look of the Blue Power, and well, Blue Power better for your environment because of a cleaner engine setup or cleaner emission setup. Next we have a Steyr. This is a Steyr CVT 4115. Has 145 horsepower and is 112,000 euros to buy, which will be 772 horsepower per horsepower per euros per horsepower. That's the way. That's the correct euros per horsepower. Right next to it, there is the first of a case model for this evaluation. This is a case of the Maxim series. It's the CVX 115. It also has 145 horsepower and is 112,000 euros to buy. So also 772 euros per horsepower. So basically, if you need a 145 horsepower tractor and you have 112,000 euros to spend, you can basically choose between the case or the Steyr. They are identical. They both have PDOs, 3-point link, front loader attacher. It's basically here just a question of your own taste. They are identical. Moving on to another New Holland. This is also a T6 model, T6 155. Now the not Blue Power variant, the standard variant with 155 horsepower, 117 euros to buy. So 754 euros per horsepower. Right next to it, another case Maxim series, the CVX 125, 155 horsepower, 117,000 euros to buy, 754 euros per horsepower. So here, just like we had before, if you're looking for a 155 horsepower tractor and have 117,000 euros to spend, it's totally up to your personal preference what you choose, a Case or a New Holland. Same price, same horsepower, same setup, front loader attacher, 3-point link, PDO, everything in there. Just choose what you prefer. Moving on to more New Hollands. Also of the T6 series, now the T6 175 Blue Power and the standard model. These have 175 horsepower. The Blue Power costs 132,000 euros, so it's 154 euros per horsepower. The standard model, also 175 horsepower, is 127,000 euros to buy, so 725 euros per horsepower. And just like we had before, here is another case, also a Case Maxim, the CVX 145. It's also 175 horsepower, 127,000 euros to buy, so 725 euros per horsepower. And just like we had before, it's totally up your personal preference what you choose, a Case or a New Holland. Same price, same setup, 3-point link, front loader attacher, PDO. Same horsepower, same sales price. Just choose what you prefer. Moving on to an older brand Case model. This is the Case 1455 XL. This one has 145 horsepower and costs 102,000 euros, so 703 euros per horsepower. This only has a front loader attacher and a standard front weight. You don't have PDO or a 3-point link with this tractor. The next is another Steyr. This is the Steyr CVT 4145, 175 horsepower, 117,000 euros to buy, so 668 euros per horsepower. So it has the same horsepower like this Case and this T Holland. It's basic, and it's also the same setup, front loader, 3-point link, PDO, but it's 10,000 euros cheaper in essence. So if you're looking for a 175 horsepower tractor, you can choose between the Steyr, the Case, and the New Holland, or also the Blue Power New Holland. They are identical in setup, and the price difference is, this is the cheapest of these four, but the difference is not huge. Yeah, moving on to the three winners of this evaluation. All tractors are older models, tractor models. That is why they would win. They will win these evaluation because they are a little bit older, so the sales price is a little bit lower, like the newer models. So basically, if you want a new modern tractor, the 3 or 4 models I just mentioned before, these are the one you can choose from, and which are basically the best price performance ratio with 175 horsepower and the modern style tractor. But if you're just going for the really every cent you count in, you can also choose the elderly models, if you would like to call it like that. We start with the one with the bronze medal, Fendt Favorit 515C. It has 150 horsepower, 93,500 euros to buy, which is 623 euros per horsepower. Front loader attacher, 3-point link, PDO. Everything is there. Next, we have a Case. Case 72 200 Pro Series model, the 7210 with 170 horsepower, 98,000 euros to buy. This does not have a front loader attacher and a PTO. It only has the 3-point link, so a little bit less to choose from in comparison, for example, to the Fendt. But yeah, you can basically, if you need the front loader attacher, for example, you can always go back to this elderly case model. So it's up your own preference. And the winner of today's evaluation from a price performance ratio is the Fiat 1300 DT. It has 150 PS on it and 59,000 euros to buy. Very, very cheap tractor. It has 393 euros per horsepower. So the best price performance ratio overall. But you basically only get the tractor. No front loader attacher, no 3-point link, no PTO, and it's very, very slow. Top speed is 25 kilometers per hour. So it's not really designed for transporting. You can transport, of course, you can pull a trailer with it, but in essence it would take much longer to go to your sell points with this slow tractor. But for, well, pulling a plow or plowing a field or a seeder, which has only a horsepower requirement up to 150 PS, this is a very cheap alternative for you. Yeah, and that's it for today's topic, tractors between 145 and 175 horsepower. Leave a like, leave a comment. Thank you very much for your interest. Thank you very much for your attention, and see you next time.